That game knows that 60% from the field, 51.3% from the free throw line, 138 points for 48 minutes. Tough to win. And, that sounds like a broken record. The one thing I would say is two things. The first one is our guys were down 17, and I give them a lot of credit for fighting back, getting back in the game, and giving ourselves a chance down the stretch to get a win. But those stats that I just read, it's going to be tough to win ball games that way, night in and night out, especially going into a playoff series against any team, because all teams that make the playoffs are good teams. It was a bright spot. Kessler Edwards, I thought, getting thrown in the mix and telling him to go guard Anthony Edwards. It's one of the toughest assignments in the league, and you're not going to stop a guy like that. But I thought he did a good job of making him work for his points, and that was a bright spot in tonight's game.
Mike, you had it at 2 there with 28 to go,
Yep.
and they had the ball, and you guys pressured him, and then De'Aaron fouled him at 15, fouled Conley. Was that what you guys were looking to do there, try to get a steal and foul, or was that a mistake?
No, that wasn't a mistake. We told him we're going to take 2 or 3 traps and then go ahead and foul. It was one of those things where they were shooting 60% from the field, and so I you kind of hate to say this, but we weren't stopping anybody tonight. And so at the end of the day, let's try to go for a steal. Let's see if they can win at the free throw line if we don't get a steal, because there's still a lot of time on the clock, and then just kind of go from there.
Mike,
We did debate that though, because 4 seconds is a decent amount, but there wasn't much confidence shown by our team to say, okay, we're going to rely on our defense to get a stop.
Another game you might, if you're playing better defense.
Yes, maybe. Yes, for sure.
Mike, just overall, what's your level of frustration defensive with the defense after this one, given you've been harping on sort of the same things throughout the season?
The frustration levels there. Our guys know it. We practice this stuff, a lot of these same trails every day. It's tough. A guy like, we even talked about, going into a game, a guy like Rudy Gobert, we got to help Domas. 7'1", 7'2", whatever he is. We got to crack back. We got to help Domas. And, for us, we gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, and we just can't do it. We need more help from our guards. Kevin and Blake play a total of 50-something minutes, and I think get 1 rebound, and we can't have that as small as we are. We have to rebound, and we have to have everybody rebound. And if you're not rebounding, then go put your body on somebody so that they don't get the rebound, but in particular, Rudy Gobert doesn't get the rebound.
Mike, was that a moment to go to Kessler and even other pieces planned because of maybe the back-to-back 4 and 5, 4 and 3, 3 and 4 nights, whatever it is, or was that more of an in-game adjustment for you?
Yeah, it was an in-game adjustment, and we have, I don't even know how many games we have, but I know I don't want to go into the playoffs playing the way we are defensively, and so it's my job to keep trying to find different combinations that can help us get stops. And so it wasn't planned going in. It just happened because they were just scoring so easy. And even in a pick and roll situation, our coverage is right, but there's no ball pressure. We don't get back in front of the ball to stop it. We just stay on the guy's hip and let him drive down the floor, and then they skip it with ease, because there's no ball pressure, because there's no high hands, and we can't get the shooters if they're able to play as comfortable as they played tonight.
Mike, I was kind of going to ask the same thing, and I assume the same goes for PJ and Alex. It was just in-game looking for size and some defense.
Yeah, it's all. But Alex was, because it was only 20-something seconds left, and it was their ball underneath, and so we wanted to bring some size in to match up with Gobert, and that's what we did.
Mike, what have you seen from Kessler outside in practice and off the court that you like, and does he fit in sort of with what you guys are trying to do here?
He's long, he's athletic, he has pretty good feet, and so he can step, slide, and take a hit without being knocked off balance. He can space you just enough to where he can bother you if you raise up. You know, Anthony raised up a couple of times, you know, because he thought he had a clean look from the three, and Kessler was still long enough to bother him. You know, so you like his physicality, you like his ability to stay in front of the ball and not give up middle, and then, you know, if he's open, he can knock down a shot too.
Coach Brown, just looking for a clarification. I mean, Minnesota, I think they got like 31 assists in the game, though. But when you just mentioned the skip part, because there was a few plays where, you know, there wasn't anybody at least 5 feet on those shooters out there in three-point land. Is that what you mean while they were able to skip it, or can you clarify that part? The skip, when you said something, you know, your last comment, you said something about they were able to skip the ball, or was it a skip pass?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to explain. If you come on up here, I'll show you. But the first thing is you were incorrect, because there was more than a few plays. There was a whole bunch of plays. But in the pick and roll situation, okay, we were in the ice. So let's say that's the ball there. And so this is Rudy Gobert. He's going to set the screen, and we forced the ball down. So whoever's guarding the ball was on this side while Rudy is guarding and Domas is here. Well, we have to bring this defender in right here. So it leaves one defender here and 2 guys over here. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so now what happens is, if this guy doesn't bust his ass to get back in front of the ball sooner to stop the ball here, but he just stays on his hip and lets him get down here, and then when he picks it up, if we don't go high hands to force a hang time pass, when he picks it up and he throws a dart here, it's going to be hard for us to get there.
There's a lot of shots like that in the corner too.
Yes, me too. Yeah, does it make sense though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we got to do a better job on the ball, better job of getting back in front of the ball right here, because the screen's not happening. Rudy just was standing here. Does that make sense? And then diving. Like, Rudy wasn't really screening anybody. And this guy was, and he wasn't going phew like that. He was dribble, 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 and he just picked it up and threw a skip pass right there. And they just killed us knocking that 3 down.
Clarify.
Clarify?
What time's film tomorrow?
Tomorrow there's no practice, so not tomorrow, but if you want to watch film, come Monday.
We have time for 3 more, we'll start right here.
Professor Brown, you've talked a lot over the course of this year about being honest with guys. And
Yeah.
over the course of an 82-game season, a long season, how often do you have to reiterate messages that we're capable of playing a full game of defense versus they know better, you don't have to tell them, and they can just go out there and figure it out themselves?
Well, you know, you hope at this point in the season, I don't have to keep, you know, saying the same message. Hopefully it can come from within the group, you know, especially from our leadership. You know, they'll know what's exactly going on or what's wrong on the floor, and they can tell each other to do better, you know. But I know I must sound like a broken record to those guys, because I keep saying the same thing to them. Because we can, we're more than capable of playing better. I mean, we had some stretches where we got stops. It was the only way for us to get back in the game, you know, and we've gotten stops in the past. We got stops against one of the best offensive teams when it comes to skill set or players top to bottom. In the Clippers, we gave up a ton of points in, but the last 4 minutes we decided to sit out and guard somebody. And so the capability is there. It's whether or not we want to. It's hard. It's hard to play the right way and with a certain level of energy and effort on every possession for 48 minutes. You know, you want to take a shortcut. You know, it's natural for most guys, and the teams that don't take shortcuts and understand and embrace the little things, from ball pressure to if a guy's a shooter and we tell you to chase over the top, bust your behind and get over the top with him. Don't shortcut and go underneath and let them shoot a three behind the screen. You know, don't open the floodgates and let them drive straight to the rim and us not react from the weak side. You know, just the little, embracing the little things for 48 minutes is hard to do. But really, that's what championship level teams do. And I think our guys think they're playing hard, you know, but there's another level we can still go, and we're going to have to get there in order to have success at the end of the season.
Mike, you kind of alluded to it just then, but toward the end of the third quarter when you went on that run, and then in most of the fourth quarter, what was working that you guys were able to close the gap?
Biggest thing, we got a string of stops where we're able to get out and run. And you know, when you play a really good half-court defensive team, which they are with Rudy Gobert, especially on that backside, you don't want their defense to be set, you know. And so that's what triggered our run, is our ability to get some stops and get out and run.
Yeah, Coach, we've seen you go to Trey Lyles at the backup five a few times this year and again tonight. Like, when you're looking in Trey's direction, what are you hoping to get from that backup five role?
Well, just a little bit more spacing. Trey's shooting the ball at an extremely high level, and so it gives our opponent a different look, especially when you got a guy like Rudy. It takes Rudy out of the paint a little bit. And so for us to, you know, to go to Trey, it's just a luxury, because at the end of the day, if they want to keep trying to punch the ball into a guy like Rudy, kind of live with it and see what happens. And then the other end, with the way we shoot the ball from the three-point line, let's get out and run, play drag, pick and pop, and see if we can hit a couple of threes to get them a little disjointed.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
I want to keep it, but you doing it. Next time. Hey.
I guess he gonna show the team that.